Okay, this is 1914 Twilight in the East from GMT Games. This is the second video, slight expansion on the original introduction. I didn't actually describe the actual footprint of this game. So it looks about, because this is a 10-foot table, so it's looking around 6 foot by 4.5 feet, because it slightly defeated the size of my table, so I've had to put little extensions under the far edge of the map here. There's like a one sheet, which this area here, which covers the sort of Silesia and parts of West Prussia. There's also another map extension down the far end of the battle in the southeast, which covers the Austro-Hungarian border all the way down probably to the Romanian border there, certainly along the Carpathians. So it's got a big footprint. Now all these charts here which monitor combat effectiveness, they can all be wall mounted. They don't need to be on your main table, nor do the reinforcements and replacements and withdrawal sheets and unit activations over there. So you can probably fit it on a 6 foot by 4 foot table, but you'll obviously have to put things to one side. It's much more handy having them on a table. Things we have noticed, there is a living rules document on GMT's website which takes the rules from my copy, which is 2007, all the way up to 2014 living rules. So it's worth downloading a copy of that and sticking it on the tablet. I wouldn't necessarily recommend printing it off, because there are quite a few rule changes, but they're very clear in the PDF document. They're all in blue. Other things I've done, I've taken a laminated copy of the sequence of the play from the back of the main rule book. I've also printed off just excuse me for a second, these charts here, which are your off-map rail movement charts. There's one for each. There's one for Germany, one for Austria, and there's a Russian one on the table over there. That thing up there is just the game turn record track that comes with the game. These are actually in the back of the playbook. And they allow you to move forces quickly by railway. So you wanted to move from Prussia down to Silesia, down here, or even into the Austrian-Hungarian area. You can move them using these rail things. Well, no, it doesn't give you rail distances to Berlin and stuff like that. They're marked as arrows on the map, but obviously you're not going to want to move to Berlin and stuff. One thing that's worth noting is it does talk about the Bukowina box. Now, it took me a bit of finding that. I thought it says it's on the map. It's not on the map. It's actually on these off-board movement charts, and that allows you, the certain units can go in there for the Austro-Hungarians. I sort of went over the game a bit further, and I've noticed that these white blocks are actually fortress supply sources. Now, I could mark them the same as other supply sources, like these depots here. I could have marked them with yellow blocks, but I decided to keep them separate as white blocks. I've not got all of them marked. Other things, we put some yellow I put these little markers on the board to remind me of stuff that I'm always going to forget. The big thing with this game is, starting on the first turn, there's only one army that's actually active, and that's the Russian First Army, and the other armies start coming in on subsequent game turns. There's also rules about units. All German units west of the Vistula are inactive, which is all units 1, 2 and 3 may not move, etc. if they're west of the Vistula. All the Austrian units start the game inactive, so do the rest of the Russians. The Germans in Prussia are also inactive. So as I say, starting the game isn't going to be too bad because you're just using with one particular corps, one army. It should be quite easy to break yourself into the rules. Now, another thing I've done is I'm reading the special rules for the Grand Campaign. There are what are called objectives, strategic objectives. And these are like operations that are baked into the game. Now, if we look at these ones here, the Second Army objectives here, so the Russian Second Army, which is over here, will be aiming to capture these objectives. Once you've captured them, you're free to do whatever operations you want. And there's certain things that you don't have to keep going for these. It's also baked into the game that eventually you can abandon these if there's no chance of achieving them, or you don't want to continue with the historical attacks. It's a good framework for getting you into the historical battle. Now, the Russian First Army have got some over here, and the Austrian armies have, you see these yellow ones over here, these are your strategic objectives for them. And the Russians also have some over there, strategic objectives for all their armies in the south. Anything else that I've been doing really? I've just been reading up. We're starting the first turn, done the weather. We've been looking at supply, zones of control, stacking and things like that for these particularly for the Russian First Army. And anything else I've looked at? I've looked at there's a video of the vassal module being played, which the guy does explain some of the basic rules, but it doesn't cover the rules in any sort of depth. So really, as I said, I've been concentrating on getting the supplies, the different type of unit that can, or sources of supplies, how supplies are moved along railways, and from like depots to core trains, and then core trains onto the individual units and stuff like that. So that's really occupied me for today. That's it. That's just a quick update, and hopefully we should get moving in terms of playing the game sometime. Maybe not tomorrow, but certainly by the weekend. Depends. There's quite a bit of rules to absorb, but hopefully, because you're not playing with all these units from the first turn, that it's going to be one of those games where you can just pick it up and play.